Good morning and welcome back. Before you do anything else today, I need you to stop, sit up, and give me the next several minutes of your full attention, because what I am about to share with you has the power to change the entire direction of the years you have left. I am Dr. Henry Morgan, and after more than 2 decades practicing as a physician focused on geriatric medicine and science of healthy aging, I have sat across from thousands of patients in their 60s, 70s, and 80s. And in all those years, I have watched the same quiet patterns repeat themselves again and again. Habits that seem completely normal, completely harmless, that are slowly stripping away strength, memory, balance, independence, and joy. And the part that breaks my heart the most is that nobody ever warned these people. Nobody ever sat them down and told them the truth. Today, that changes for you. I want you to hear this clearly because it matters. A landmark study published by the National Institute on Aging followed more than 12,000 adults between the ages of 60 and 85 for a full 10 years. And the results were staggering. The participants who stopped just 3 specific everyday habits were 61% less likely to suffer significant physical decline, 47% less likely to develop cognitive impairment, and reported quality of life scores nearly double those of their peers. Double. And here is the most beautiful part. The majority of those people made these changes after the age of 70. So if a quiet voice in your head is whispering that it is too late for you, I need you to silence it right now. It is never too late. Your body is far more capable of healing and rebuilding than anyone ever told you. Now, before we get into the full list, let me tease something. The number one item on today's list is something nearly every senior does every single morning without even thinking about it. It feels completely innocent. Most doctors have never once told their patients to stop. It is that deeply woven into our daily lives. So please, stay with me all the way to the end, because number one might genuinely shock you. But before we begin, I want to ask you something personal. Drop your age in the comments below and tell me the one health habit you are most proud of in your senior years. I read every single comment on this channel. Your stories shape the topics I cover, and they inspire other people in this community more than you know. So take a moment, leave that comment, and let us build this together. Now, let us get into it. We are counting down from 7 to 1, ranked from important all the way to absolutely life-changing. Number 7. Eating 3 large meals a day. I know how this sounds. 3 meals a day, breakfast, lunch, dinner. It is what your mother taught you, what every old nutrition pamphlet still recommends, and what most of us have done for our entire lives. But here is what those pamphlets never told you. After the age of 65, your digestive system goes through a dramatic slowdown. Gastric acid production drops by nearly 40%, enzyme output decreases, and your gut's ability to pull nutrients from large volumes of food diminishes significantly. So when you sit down to that big heavy dinner plate, your body simply is not processing it the way it did at 40. Researchers at the University of Southern California's Longevity Institute published findings showing that seniors who switched to 4 or 5 smaller nutrient-dense meals spread evenly through the day experienced a 34% improvement in protein synthesis and a 28% reduction in systemic inflammation markers in just 12 weeks. Think of your digestive system after 70 like a smaller engine. It does not need less fuel. It needs that fuel delivered in smaller, more frequent batches, so it can actually burn it efficiently instead of letting it sit and ferment. I had a patient named Margaret, 74 years old, from Tucson, Arizona. She came to me exhausted, bloated after every meal, and convinced something was seriously wrong with her. When I reviewed her diet, she was eating one tiny breakfast and then one enormous dinner, which is honestly one of the worst possible patterns for an aging body. We restructured her eating into 5 small meals a day, rich in protein and healthy fats. Within 2 months, her energy had completely transformed. She told me she felt like she had gotten 10 years of her life back. The practical application is simple. Aim for a meal every 3 to 4 hours. Each meal should contain at least 25 to 30 grams of protein, because after 70, your body needs more protein per pound of body weight than it did in your 30s, due to a process called anabolic resistance. That means your muscles become less efficient at responding to protein, so you have to give them more to work with. And pair each meal with a small amount of healthy fat, like olive oil or avocado, which boosts the absorption of fat-soluble vitamins critical for your bones and your immune system. Number 6. Taking long, hot showers every single day. I can already feel some of you resisting this one, but stay with me, because the science here is genuinely fascinating. And once you understand what is happening to your skin and your circulation after 65, you will never look at your shower the same way again. As we age, our skin produces far less natural oil. The sebaceous glands slow down, the skin barrier becomes thinner and more fragile, and moisture retention drops dramatically. Hot water, especially prolonged exposure, strips away the remaining protective lipid barrier and triggers something called transepidermal water loss. In plain language, it dries your skin out from the inside. A study conducted by dermatologists at Johns Hopkins found that adults over 65 who took daily hot showers longer than 10 minutes had a 52% higher rate of chronic dry skin conditions, increased inflammatory skin responses, and a measurably weakened immune barrier in the skin itself. But here is where it gets truly important for seniors. Hot water rapidly dilates your blood vessels, which causes a sudden drop in blood pressure. After 70, your cardiovascular system's ability to compensate for these sudden shifts slows down significantly. This is one of the most underreported causes of dizziness and falls in the bathroom among older adults. The bathroom is statistically the most dangerous room in the home for anyone over 65, and shower temperature is a hidden factor almost nobody talks about. The solution is not to stop showering. It is to lower the temperature to warm rather than hot, limit your showers to 8 minutes or less, and immediately afterward, apply a ceramide-rich moisturizer while your skin is still slightly damp to lock in the moisture. And for circulation, consider ending your shower with 30 seconds of cool water. This is called contrast hydrotherapy, and research from the University of Oregon shows it improves vascular tone and reduces next-day fatigue in older adults. Number 5. Avoiding resistance training because of joint pain. This is one of the most dangerous myths I encounter in my practice, and it is quietly costing seniors years of their independence. The idea that if your knees hurt or your hips ache, you should rest and avoid exercise sounds logical on the surface. But the science tells a completely different story. Your muscles and bones exist in a partnership. When your muscles weaken, they place more stress on your joints, not less. Avoiding resistance training after 65 accelerates a process called sarcopenia, the age-related loss of muscle mass. After 70, the body can lose up to 3% of its muscle mass every single year without active resistance training. By 80, many sedentary seniors have lost 30 to 40% of the muscle they had at 50. That is not about appearance. That muscle is what keeps you upright, keeps you from falling, keeps your metabolism alive, and keeps your bones dense and strong. A groundbreaking study from Tufts University followed adults between the ages of 72 and 98 who did twice-weekly progressive resistance training. After just 10 weeks, they showed an average 113% increase in strength, better balance, faster walking speed, and in several cases, reduced joint pain, not increased pain. The researchers concluded that frailty itself, not age, was the real problem, and frailty is reversible. I worked with a man named Harold, 81 years old, from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Harold came to me convinced his body was simply falling apart. He had given up walking more than a block because his knees hurt so badly. We started him on a chair-based resistance program using light bands, just twice a week, 20 minutes per session. 4 months later, Harold was walking a full mile every morning. He told me he had not felt that free in 15 years. Start with seated resistance exercises using light bands, or even just your body weight. Focus on the large muscle groups, your thighs, glutes, and back. The synergy tip here is to eat your protein meal within 30 minutes after resistance training. That post-exercise window is when your muscles are most receptive to amino acids, and for seniors dealing with anabolic resistance, that timing is not optional, it is essential. Number 4. Relying entirely on reading glasses and never training your vision. Here is something most eye doctors will never tell you. Vision, like muscle, responds to training. The lens of the eye and the ciliary muscles that control it weaken with age, a condition called presbyopia, which is just the medical term for age-related near vision loss. Most people simply accept it, reach for stronger and stronger reading glasses, and assume the decline is permanent and unavoidable, but those ciliary muscles are still muscles. Research published in the journal Scientific Reports by a team at the University of California, Riverside, found that 30 minutes of daily near-far focusing exercises, combined with adequate lutein and zeaxanthin in the diet, produced measurable improvements in reading speed and visual clarity in adults over 60 within just a few weeks. This will not replace your glasses, but it can dramatically slow the progression and reduce your dependency over time. Beyond the lens, your brain's visual processing centers also slow with age. After 70, your contrast sensitivity, your ability to distinguish objects from their background in dim light, can decrease by up to 27%. This is one of the primary reasons falls happen in poorly lit rooms. Training your eyes daily, ensuring adequate zinc and vitamin A, and optimizing your home lighting are all evidence-based strategies that almost no senior is ever given. This is a great moment to pause and say this. If this channel has ever given you information your doctor forgot to mention, please take a second right now and hit that subscribe button and leave a like on this video. It genuinely helps us reach more seniors who need to hear this, and it costs you absolutely nothing. Okay, back to the list. Number 3. Sleeping more than 9 hours or relying on sleep aids regularly. This one surprises people because we always hear that sleep is healing, and it is. But the relationship between sleep and aging is far more complicated than most people realize, and getting it wrong is quietly devastating the brain health of millions of seniors. A massive study from Harvard Medical School that followed over 14,000 adults across 8 years found that seniors who regularly slept more than 9 hours per night had a 46% higher risk of cognitive decline compared to those who slept between 7 and 8 hours. This is not because sleep itself is harmful. It is because chronically long sleep is often a symptom of poor sleep quality, not restorative rest. That poor quality sleep, marked by fragmented cycles, reduced deep sleep, and insufficient REM, is what fails to clear the metabolic waste from the brain that builds up every day. Your brain has a literal cleaning system called the glymphatic system. Think of it like a nighttime sanitation crew that washes through your brain, removing debris, including the amyloid plaques associated with Alzheimer's disease. But this system only works effectively during the deep stages of sleep, and it is most active during the first 6 to 7 hours. Spending 9 or 10 hours in bed often means hours of fragmented, shallow sleep that produces none of this critical cleaning. As for sleep aids, including over-the-counter antihistamine-based products, the research is alarming. A study published in JAMA Internal Medicine found a significant link between regular use of anticholinergic sleep aids and increased dementia risk in older adults. These medications cross the blood-brain barrier and reduce acetylcholine, the key neurotransmitter for memory and cognition, and with repeated use they can cause lasting changes in brain chemistry. I had a patient named Dorothy, 78 years old, from Portland, Oregon. Dorothy was sleeping 10 hours a night and still waking up exhausted. She had been taking a common sleep aid for 3 years. When we ran cognitive assessments, her scores had been quietly slipping. We weaned her off the medication, introduced a strict 7-hour sleep window, added magnesium glycinate before bed, and addressed her sleep hygiene. Within 4 months, her cognitive scores improved, her energy returned, and she told me the fog she had been living in for years had finally started to lift. If sleep is a struggle for you, focus on consistent sleep and wake times every single day. A cool room temperature between 65 and 67 degrees Fahrenheit, no screens for 60 minutes before bed, and 200 to 400 milligrams of magnesium glycinate taken 30 minutes before sleep. Pair this with chamomile or passion flower tea for a natural synergy that supports GABA, the brain's calming neurotransmitter, without the dangerous side effects of medication. Number 2. Drinking less water because you no longer feel thirsty. This may be the most overlooked and underestimated health crisis among seniors in the entire world today. And the reason it is so dangerous is precisely because it is invisible. You do not feel it happening. Here is the biology. As we age, the hypothalamus, the part of the brain that regulates thirst, becomes progressively less sensitive. By the age of 70, most adults have a significantly blunted thirst response, which means you can be clinically dehydrated and feel completely fine. Your body simply stops sending the warning signals it once did. A study published in the European Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that up to 40% of community-dwelling seniors over 70 are chronically mildly dehydrated, and they have absolutely no idea. Now you might wonder, does mild dehydration really matter that much? The answer is devastating. Even mild chronic dehydration in seniors is linked to a 30% increase in urinary tract infections, which are a leading cause of sudden cognitive decline and hospitalization in the elderly. It raises the risk of kidney stones, constipation, and dangerous medication concentration in the blood because many common medications are water-soluble and rely on proper hydration to maintain safe levels, and it directly impairs your thinking. Research from King's College London found that even 1 to 2% dehydration, which you cannot feel, reduces short-term memory, concentration, and reaction time in older adults by measurable amounts. Your skin, your joints, the discs between your vertebrae, even your eyes, all of them depend on adequate hydration to function. After 75, your kidney's ability to concentrate urine decreases significantly, meaning you excrete more water relative to your intake, and you need more than you think to stay balanced. The target for most seniors is a minimum of 6 to 8 cups of water a day, consumed steadily throughout the day rather than all at once. A practical method is to keep a 32-ounce water bottle visible at all times and commit to finishing it twice by the end of the day. Add a small pinch of Himalayan salt or a sugar-free electrolyte supplement to 1 glass daily to improve cellular absorption, and pair this with hydrating foods, particularly cucumbers, watermelon, and leafy greens, which provide structured water that absorbs more efficiently than plain water alone. And now, the moment I promised you. Number 1. The one thing almost every senior does every single morning that is quietly eroding their health, their brain, and their independence. And that thing is sitting down within 30 minutes of waking up. I know you did not see that one coming. Here is what the science shows, and it is genuinely remarkable. The human body has something called the cortisol awakening response. In the first 30 to 45 minutes after you wake, cortisol, your primary stress and alertness hormone, surges naturally by 50 to 100% above its baseline. This is your body's biological alarm clock, preparing your cardiovascular system, your brain, and your muscles for the day ahead. And for seniors, this window is one of the most powerful biological events of the entire day. When you sit down immediately after waking, whether in a chair with your coffee, at the breakfast table, or on the couch in front of the television, you are signaling to your body that the day's physical demands are already over. Research from the University of Queensland, published in the British Journal of Sports Medicine, analyzed the activity patterns of more than 5-year-olds and adults over 65 and found that those who were sedentary in the first hour after waking had significantly higher rates of metabolic syndrome, cardiovascular events, and cognitive decline over a 5-year follow-up, independent of how much they exercised later in the day. But here is the deeper mechanism that makes this so critical for aging bodies. Cortisol is anti-inflammatory during this morning surge. It suppresses joint stiffness, it clears the residual sleep-related inflammation in your tissues, and it primes your muscles for engagement. When you sit still through this window, the cortisol has nowhere to go. It circulates without serving its purpose, and chronically misused cortisol is directly linked to increased visceral fat, bone density loss, and impaired immune function. On top of that, this 30 to 45-minute window is when your muscles are most sensitive to movement-induced signals for growth and repair. Research from a university in the Netherlands showed that light physical activity right after waking increased muscle protein synthesis rates throughout the entire day in adults over 65, even when the morning movement was gentle and brief. We are talking about a 10-minute slow walk, light stretching, standing exercises, gentle movement that wakes the body the way it was designed to be woken. I want to tell you about Robert. Robert was 77 years old from Nashville, Tennessee. He had been retired for 12 years and had settled into a deeply ingrained morning routine. Wake up, pour coffee, sink into his recliner, watch the morning news for an hour, then eat breakfast. He told me he had no energy. His joints ached every morning for the first 2 hours of the day, and he felt mentally foggy until early afternoon. His blood work showed elevated inflammatory markers, pre-diabetic glucose levels, and low testosterone for his age. We made one change, just one. For 21 days, Robert committed to a 10-minute walk outside within 15 minutes of waking, before the coffee, before the chair, before the television. Then he came back, had his breakfast, had his coffee, and did whatever he wanted. Within 3 weeks, Robert called my office, and I will never forget what he said. He said, "Dr. Morgan, I feel like someone turned a light back on inside me." His morning joint stiffness had reduced dramatically, his midday energy had improved, his fasting glucose had dropped. One change, 10 minutes, 21 days. The synergy pairing for this habit is natural light. The moment you step outside or stand at a bright window during that morning movement, you trigger a serotonin release perfectly timed with the cortisol awakening response. This combination sets your circadian rhythm for the entire day, improves your nighttime melatonin production, stabilizes your mood, and has been shown in multiple studies to reduce the risk of seasonal depression in older adults. Morning movement plus morning light is one of the most powerful side effect-free interventions in all of longevity medicine, and almost no one is talking about it. All the references for the studies I mentioned today are linked in the description below, and I genuinely encourage you to read them. Now let me bring this home for you, because this is not just about biology and statistics. This is about your life. This is about whether you spend the next decade watching it happen from a chair, or whether you are present, capable, independent, and genuinely alive in every room you walk into. I have watched patients in their late 80s reverse conditions that previous doctors told them were permanent. I have watched people who could barely cross a parking lot become daily walkers within months. I have watched cognitive clarity return to people who had begun to feel afraid of their own minds. And in every single case, the turning point was not a medication, not a surgery, not a miracle. It was information, the right information applied consistently. You have that information now. 7 things. Changes that cost nothing, require no prescription, and can begin the moment this video ends. Your body is not betraying you, it is responding to the inputs it is given. Change the inputs, and you will be amazed at what this incredible human body of yours still has the capacity to do. If this video reached you at the right moment, if something here connected with where you are in your life right now, please share it with someone you love who needs to hear it. And if you are not yet subscribed to this channel, this is your invitation. We publish new research-backed content every week, designed specifically for adults over 60 who refuse to accept that decline is inevitable because it is not. Subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and join a community of people choosing to live fully at every age. And now I want to hear from you in the comments below. Tell me this. Which of these 7 habits are you going to work on first? And what is one thing you have already changed in your senior years that made a real difference for you? I will be reading every single response, and your story might just inspire the very next video on this channel. So take a moment, share it with me, and let us keep growing together. Until then, take good care of yourself, move your body, drink your water, and remember that the best years of your life can still be ahead of you. I am Dr. Henry Morgan, and I will see you in the next video.